Welcome into today's 820 episode. 820, your 500 seconds of resilience, your urgency meeting about resilience. I hope you are able to discern or take away from these less than 10 minutes of a conversation about resilience and to apply them on your journey to what you're going through, to what you're seeking for clarity, for guidance, not from me, just from the exchange of the energy that I'm putting out for you to consume, hopefully to digest, and then to take away the nutritional value of what you're able to glean from my experiences and what I believe we have in common more than we have in difference. This right now and each episode is meant to convey to you the insights, the context of what I have seen, experienced, and received as grace in this life. That, again, I believe is common to all of us, not in terms of the actual experiences. We all are unique in how we go through this life. But there are some common themes that I want to get across to you, and if you will allow me to remind you of those things. Some of them are words, just words, but I've taken the time to define them and describe them to you from my small piece of this life that I hope makes sense to you, is relevant to you, and helps you with your drive and your desire. Those words, what drives you, your beauty, your presence, your resilience, your courage, your vanity, those kind of things that I've kind of outlined and structured in a way that I hope is not entertaining, but educating to you, and not to educate you or teach you anything, but to help you to draw out from what's already within inside of you. Thank you for allowing me for that preamble today. Today's topic is called On Hallowed Ground. It will probably generate the first question: where is that exactly, this hallowed ground thing? Is it on the Native American Pueblos? Is it in Sedona, Arizona, with all those vortexes at those Red Rock Mountains? Is it in the lovely Melbourne, Australia? Is it at West Point? Maybe it's at your grandmother's house. Maybe it's in your car. Maybe, if you're married, it's in your wife's purse. That is absolute hallowed ground. Maybe also it could be at the cemetery. Sidebar note. You ever just visited a cemetery, not as a final destination or look at your planned plot or purchase plot? I mean, just recently, I stopped and went to a cemetery. It was a basic one, nothing fancy, just an arch, entryway. But it was really like a hometown cemetery. And for some reason, I decided to walk in there. And I'm telling you, it might sound kind of weird, but even walk in there, of course, I know none of these headstones or names on these headstones, but I see people's names, their beginning and ending date, and some families there. Some people who are in the military, some were just, hardworking people, some were just loving people. But something about there, never been in this place, but sitting there, it makes you give reverence to people you don't know. And in a way, maybe it reminds you of your own mortality. That's going to happen. Not necessarily go to this cemetery or a cemetery, but just the thought of going there and me feeling that I was stepping on something very special. So that's one sidebar about a hallowed ground. But also, I said cemetery. It could be a seminary. Also could be your man cave. Could be your work cubicle. Could be your intimate secrets that are serving as hallowed ground for you. It could be just as simple as where you stand or sit or sleep is your hallowed ground. Or when you are awake. Maybe that hallowed ground is only simply where you have presence. Your hallowed ground that you may encounter, that I kind of give you a list of things that might qualify as definitive hallowed grounds. Maybe it's just as simple as where you have presence and from where you produce and pursue your purpose and from where you deliver your message. Hallowed, not hollowed out through arrogance or vanity. Difference. Hallowed versus hollowed. Hallowed to be from your presence and from the courage you have to stand and speak with confidence and humility. From the words and inspiration sparked in you to discover, to uncover, and recover from that abyss of fear and ego that we all have. To me, that is the sacred position or place to visit. I say visit because those things are listed as examples early in this podcast. Those are great places to visit for a year, a minute, a few years, or a decade. You can visit there, but you can never stay there. Those places, those events, those plateaus, those vistas, those are temporary. But you can always remain here and now. Here and now, wherever you walk, sit, observe, and communicate your presence. That should be your constant presence, meaning your constant awareness of the presence you have. As I said before in many other podcast episodes, not just your presence, your currency, how current you are in that presence. And that constant underneath at the foundation and core of you is not just a thing, it's not a place, that location is that burning love and desire within each and every one of us that was given to us by our Creator. We all have that. Now, how you express it, how I express it, is going to be different. However, that is the constant presence I'm talking about. So wherever you are, wherever you happen to be, sitting, lying, thinking about, observing, crying about, that is where you are as far as your presence. But from wherever you are able to produce from that hallowed, grounding, full of resource and creation that came before you, that created you and brought you to the position, to the viewpoint, perspective that you can produce from any hallowed ground that you have presence. Thank you once again. Stay present. Stay current. Remember, where your heart is, I hope is here with 820.